Good morning, and welcome to A Few Years in a Few Minutes. I'm Sriram, the colonist with a unique name.
And I'm Norman, and we will be your anchors on this fine morning.
We begin this morning with some very important news. A massacre occurred in Boston on March 5th, 1770, killing 5 and injuring 6.
After many riots in the colonies between 1763 and 1770, this was the first time that blood was shed.
We were there when the trial of the Redcoats involved in the riot took place. Here's a clip of the trial.
Sir, where was Captain Preston standing among his men when he was stationed in King's Street in Boston on March 5th, 1770?
He was standing behind his men.
And is it true that the colonists were throwing clubs and snowballs at you and your men?
Not only were they throwing at me and my men, they were daring us to fire.
That's not true.
Bravo! That's not right!
Order.
Bravo!
The result of the trial was that 2 redcoats were charged with manslaughter, but none were charged with murder and were hanged.
To add on to that, we managed to interview John Adams, who was a defendant in Redcoats. Our correspondent Benjamin was at the scene to interview him.
I'm now joined by John Adams. Good evening.
Good evening.
Sir, I know you're a busy man, so we will keep this short. Mr. Adams, as a colonist, why did you decide to defend the Redcoats?
It is true, as a colonist, I feel like I've been stripped of my rights of Englishman. However, I cannot let our emotions alter the facts.
That's a good point. How do you feel about the outcome that 2 Redcoats were charged with manslaughter?
I feel like I did my part in defending the soldiers by saying the suspicions did not add up.
Thank you for your time, Mr. Adams. And with that, I'll hand it to Sriram.
Thank you, Benjamin. Now on to our next topic.
After many riots in 1773, on December 16th, there was a riot at the Boston port, now being called the Boston Tea Party.
In this riot, many colonists dressed up as Native Americans threw 342 chests of tea into the Boston harbor. It is estimated that was about 9,700 pounds worth of damages for the British East India Company.
The following clip is from the Boston Tea Party, which we managed to film.
Dump the tea! Dump the tea! Dump the tea! Dump that tea! Dump the tea! Dump the tea! Come on!
As this was going on, one of our correspondents reported to the Boston Harbor to interview some witnesses. Here's Mikey with the report.
To find what the colonists think about the riot in the Boston harbor, I have some witnesses here who were in the harbor while the tea party took place. Here is witness Mr. Gilbert. Sir, how do you feel about the Sons of Liberty dumping hundreds of crates of tea into the ocean?
I don't like how the king kept the tea axe on us, sir. What those men did in that harbor was a protest. The king violated our rights by taxing us without representing us.
Thank you, Mr. Gilbert. That is all for me. Sriram, now back to you.
Thank you, Mikey. This just in, live, the First Continental Congress from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, is taking place right now. 56 delegates from 12 colonies, excluding Georgia, are meeting on this hot September morning.
They are currently meeting in Carpenter's Hall and will be discussing what actions to take on the recent passing of the Intolerable Acts.
To discuss more on the matter, our correspondent Mikey is reporting live from Philadelphia.
Thanks, Sriram. Right now I'm outside Carpenter's Hall in Philadelphia, where delegates are discussing right now, and they have been doing so for several weeks after Parliament passed, as the colonies dubbed it, the Intolerable Acts. I managed to ask 2 delegates to talk to me from the meeting. Here to explain further is Delegate Patrick Henry, who's a delegate of Virginia, and John Dixon, who's the delegate from Pennsylvania. Mr. Henry, what was the meeting of the delegates about?
Sir, this meeting was just a meeting. We talked in this building regarding these recent acts passed by Parliament, which we agreed were intolerable.
Was there any move taken or any acts passed during the meeting?
There was nothing passed, and we only talked in the meetings. However, we were planning to pass a document called the Association, which stated a complete boycott of Great Britain's goods.
Interesting. Thanks, Mr. Henry.
My pleasure.
Mr. Johnson Dickinson, what was your thoughts about the meeting?
As we were discussing, we sort of bonded as colonists because we talked about a common cause that affected us colonists. Overall, we should declare our complaints to the king to ensure a response from him for the safety of the colonists from the riots and hope for the mother country.
Thank you, Mr. Dickinson.
Thank you, Mikey. And that's a few years in a few minutes. I'm Shriram.
And I'm Norman.
Thank you for tuning in.
And have a wonderful day.